that. Let me share the screen and we will resume our talk. Okay. Uh, okay, it's loading.
Minds. Flex? And I do not understand the 77, I formed my first company. Rich Dad had groomed Mike and me to take over companies. So I now had to learn to form them and put them together. My first product, the nylon and Velcro wallet, was manufactured in the Far East and shipped to a warehouse in New York, near where I had gone to school. My formal education was complete, and it was time to test my wings. If I failed, I went broke. Rich Dad thought it best to go broke before 30. You see, so many talented people are poor is because they focus on building a better hamburger and know little to nothing about business systems.
We discussed about this yesterday about focusing on the process, not focusing on how to sell your service. So that's where he talks about what kind of a skill set we need to acquire. So we covered about that.
Why not seek to learn more than earn? In the short term, it may earn you less. In the long term, it will pay off in large dividends.
So that about importance of learning. And sometimes uh, so the way I would put it as well, that initially when they may not be, or you may not be paid heavily, or even if you have to pay as well. So if you see that it's the greatest learning you will have, and the learning or education is never free, or you have to pay quite a lot to get all this mentorship and training. And if you are acquiring your experience and knowledge while working, so that means that is the greatest kind of it's a very good deal for you, because you are acquiring the knowledge, and also they are giving you some money. Okay, if not whatever you want, then with the knowledge what you have, then you can go ahead and implement that knowledge to grow your own enterprise, or um, go for a better job if you are looking for job. So that's possible, isn't it?
Subscribes to the above dogma simply because it's easier to find a job and work for money.
That's so true as well, isn't it? So it's easier to find a job.
If you're not one of the masses, I offer you the following 10 steps to awaken your financial genius.
So we discussed about these 10 steps, so let's revisit those again.
I simply offer you the steps I have personally followed. If you want to follow some of them, great. If you don't, make up your own. Your financial genius is smart enough to develop its own list. Step number 1. I need a reason greater than reality. If you ask most people if they would like to be rich or financially free, they would say yes. But then reality sets in. The road seems too long with too many hills to climb. It's easier just to work for money and hand the excess over to your broker. A reason or a purpose.
So, so that's a good one, is it? It's easier to work for money. So that means finding a job and no work, going to work and come back. And then he talks about the handover the excess. That means your savings, whatever you have, but you don't know how to manage. You don't have that knowledge. What do you do then? You give it out to someone. That's where the big investment houses, or all the fund companies, they come in and they charge heavily. I mean, managing a fund, charge heavily means when talk about small percentage from a lot of people, that becomes huge for them. So that's what they do. So that's very, very, very true.
Is a combination of wants and don't wants. When people ask me what my reason for wanting to be rich is, it's a combination of deep emotional wants and don't wants. I will list a few. First, the don't wants, for they create the wants. I don't want to work all my life.
That's
I don't
true.
want what my parents aspired for, which was job security and a house in the suburbs. I don't like being an employee. Now, the wants. I want to be free to travel the world and live in a lifestyle I love. I want to be young when I do this. I want to simply be free. I want control over my time and my life. I want money to work for me. Those are deep-seated emotional reasons. What do you
And as they say as well, that whatever is your deep-seated reason, emotional reason, um, wants and don't wants, that's so true. Well, for a lot of us, what we do not want is quite apparent. And sometimes when you they say that, okay, list down your dreams, okay, so that listing is extremely important. But if you are not able to make a list of your dreams, how about making a list of your um, nightmares, like what you do not want? So that's so important. So but the listing, writing those down is very important.
yours? As I said, I wish I could say it was easy. It wasn't. But it wasn't hard either. But without a strong reason or purpose, anything in life is hard.
That's a very profound statement. So without a strong reason and purpose, anything in life is hard. So that means when you have that reason, why you want to do certain things, or why you do not want to do certain things. For example, as he talks about, I don't want to work all my life. So that is do not want. Okay, so that when that is clear enough, so everything becomes easy. And when that reason is not clear, then it's hard, or everything is hard for you. You won't be able to, or won't be pushed to do things. So that's why I say that sometimes your comfortable life stopping you to have a great life. So when you are comfortable, everything is okay, and so that stops you to reach out to your higher self.
Step number 2, I choose daily. The power of choice. That is the main reason people want to live in a free country. We want the power to choose. Financially, with every dollar we get in our hands, we hold the power to choose our future to be rich, poor, or middle class. Our spending habits reflect who we are. Poor people simply have poor spending habits. Most people choose not to be rich. For 90% of the population, being rich is too much of a hassle. So they invent sayings that go, I'm not interested in money, or I'll never be rich, or I don't have to worry, I'm still young, or when I make some money, then I'll think about my future, or my husband, wife handles the finances. The problem with those statements is they rob the person who chooses to think such thoughts of two things. One is time, which is your most precious asset, and two is learning. Just because you have no money, it shouldn't be an excuse to not learn. But that is a choice we all make daily.
Mhm.
The choice of what we do with our time, our money, and what we put in our heads. That is the power of choice. All of us have choice.
So that's a very strong statement as well, that what you choose, so the choice. So what you choose to do with your money, okay, that's the choice. And he says about what do you choose to do with your time, because he says that time is much more precious than money. And it is so true as well. Money is once gone, that means it's there is infinite amount. That means there is no limit. You can make money as much as you want once you become successful, but that is finite amount of time what all of us have. Okay, so that limited, that finite amount of time, how do you choose to spend that time? So that is extremely important. And the third thing what he says is, The time what you have, what you put in your brain, what you put into your head, which will drive you, because that is what, the mind or the thoughts, or your education or learning, so that drives you forward. So that's the choice. So the three choices: what do you do with your time, money, and what do you choose to put in your head. So that's quite important.
I just choose to be rich, and I make that choice every day. Step number 3, choose friends carefully.
Association.
First of all, I do not choose my friends by their financial statements. I have friends who have actually taken the vow of poverty, as well as friends who earn millions every year. The point is, I learn from all of them, and
And we covered this yesterday as well. This is kind of a recap, but what he says that the friends, you choose your friends carefully. So he says he has both. So, you just don't go and hang around with only the rich friends, okay, and give up your poor friends. What he says that, you know when you hang around with the rich people and you start to learn from them, okay, what you need to do, okay, what do they talk about, how do they think, and when they associate, or when he associates with his friends, we are not that doing well, or he calls them the poor friends. And he then understands, and by observing them he understands that, he learns again. Those people also helps you with, they teach you as well, to learn what you do not do, what you should not do, okay, what you should not think, because you don't want to end up where they are. So that is the reason why you have to have that. Exactly, you have to choose your friends. So that's what it talks about.
that is where most people stop. For 3 years while working for Xerox, I spent my spare time learning to master the art of buying foreclosures. I've made several $1 million using that formula, but today it's too slow, and too many other people are doing it. So after I mastered that formula, I went in search of other formulas. For many of the classes, I did not use the information I learned directly, but I always learned something new. Step number 5.
So he talks about now his learning. So that means he took some classes, he learned something, and then he implemented it as well. And he keeps renewing his skill sets, and he starts keeps learning. And the good thing is that if you see now, at his time, probably in 1970s, probably there was no internet, or not probably, but definitely there was no internet. And now the information is so much and so free as well. So you can get probably a YouTube video on anything you want to learn, and there are so many, it's all free. Or you can go for a paid course as well, which is more kind of a YouTube videos in a structured way. Or you can find a mentor as well when you go for a paid course and all. But education, a lot of time we question the education and what you put into your brain and learning, so that, because learning makes you that earning what you wanted, so that's powerful.
Pay yourself first.
So we talk about that as well, paying yourself first, from the book Richest Man in Babylon.
First. And I can hear all the responsible people who pay their bills on time. I'm not saying be irresponsible and not pay your bills. All I'm saying is do what the program says, which is pay yourself first. The reason I don't have high credit card debt and doodad debt is because I want to pay myself first. Although I pay my bills last, I am financially astute enough to not get into a tough financial situation. To ensure paying yourself first, don't get into large debt positions that you have to pay for. Keep your expenses low. Build up assets first.
Yeah. So he's kind of a, always is a big proponent of paying yourself first, and then talks about building your assets first, Okay. And then so that means he talks about keeping your expenses low. And he always, if you see Robert's entire teaching of this in this book, he says that um, you know the people who are into the rat race of going to work and coming back, and what they do is they end up paying, buying a big kind of a property, and then spending a whole lot of money, and then the entire life they want to pay for it. He says that he doesn't say that you don't buy property or buy a nice house, nice cars as well. He said that he bought, rather his wife bought his first car when she replaced, or she had that income, or asset income from her business. So, and he said that he as well, he bought his first car as well, luxury car, from that income, not from his job income when he had a job, but from his income from the property business what he had. And so that's a big lesson. So what he always teaches is build your asset first. Okay. And then, so that means be financially free. That means when you are free, that means when you are already replaced your monthly expenditures from your asset income, or your business income, or your asset, whatever you are trying to create, and then you have that luxury, or you are free. And with extra that free time what you have, then you grow your business further, grow your asset further. And then when that becomes substantially big, then with that income, he says that, okay, buying a car, if you're buying it in a personal name, you cannot claim any expenses. But if you buy it in your business name, which is kind of you can claim all these expenses. That means these are all deductions. So that's big advantage. Okay. So all of us we should learn about these. Okay.
Then, buy the big house or a nice car.
Yeah.
Being stuck in the rat race is not intelligent.
So that's what it talks about. When do you buy the car, luxury car or luxury house? Is first building the asset, and then building your own luxury. Okay. But the other way around is first build up your luxury, and then you are struggling later on, because you haven't built your asset. Okay, you are stuck there.
And when you come up short, let the pressure build and don't dip into your savings or investments. Use the pressure to inspire your financial genius to come up with new ways of making more money and then pay your bills. You will have increased your ability to make more money as well as your financial intelligence. Step number 6, pay your brokers well. I often see people posting a sign in front of their house that says, "For sale by owner." Or I see on TV today many people claiming to be discount brokers. My rich dad taught me to take the opposite tack. He believed in paying professionals well, and I have adopted that policy also. Today I have expensive attorneys, accountants, real estate brokers, and stockbrokers. Why? Because if, and I do mean if, the people are professionals, their services should make you money.
Mhm.
And the more money they make, the more money I make. We live in an information age. Information is priceless. A good broker should provide you with information as well as take the time to educate you as to its meaning. Step number 7, be an Indian giver. This is the power of getting something for nothing. When the first white settlers came to America, they were taken aback by a cultural practice some American Indians had. For example, if a settler was cold, the Indian would give the person a blanket. Mistaking it for a gift, the settler was often offended when the Indian asked for it back. The Indians also got upset when they realized the settlers did not want to give it back. That is where the term Indian giver came from. A simple cultural misunderstanding. In the world of the asset column, being an Indian giver is vital to wealth. The sophisticated investor's first question is, How fast do I get my money back? They also want to know what they get for free, also called a piece of the action. That is why the ROI, or return of and on investment, is so important. Frequently, my broker will call me and recommend I move a sizable amount of money into the stock of a company that he feels is just about to make a move that will add value to the stock, like announcing a new product. I will move my money in for a week to a month while the stock moves up. Then I pull my initial dollar amount out and stop worrying about the fluctuations of the market because my initial money is back and ready to work on another asset. So my money goes in and then it comes out. And I own an asset that was technically free. Step number 8, assets buy luxuries. As I said in the section, pay yourself first. If a person cannot master the power of self-discipline, it's best not to try to get rich. For while the process of developing cash flow from an asset column in theory is easy, it's the mental fortitude of directing money that's hard. Due to external temptations, it's much easier in today's consumer world to simply blow it out of the expense column. Because of weak mental fortitude, that money flows into the paths of least resistance. That is the cause of poverty and financial struggle. I love my luxuries as much as anyone else. The difference is, some people buy their luxuries on credit. It's the keep up with the Joneses trap. I use the income from my assets to buy my luxuries.
That's a big difference, that means he built the asset first, as we discussed earlier. Okay, most of the time people, they buy their luxury first and thinking that what the luxury they bought is an asset, which is not. So what he says, that asset is the cash flow. So build your cash flow first.
When I wanted to buy a Porsche, the easy road would have been to call my banker and get a loan. Instead of choosing to focus in the liability column, I chose to focus in the asset column. As a habit, I use my desire to consume to inspire and motivate my financial genius to invest. Too often today, we focus on borrowing money to get the things we want, instead of focusing on creating money.
That's quite an important case. So a lot of people get into that debt trap. Borrow. You need money, you borrow. But there is good debt and bad debt. For example, if you borrow the money to buy a car, that's not a good debt. That's a bad debt because that car doesn't appreciate in value as soon as you pull it out of the showroom. So it already the value is depreciated.
One is easier in the short term, but harder in the long term. It's a bad habit that we as individuals and as a nation have gotten into. Remember, the easy road often becomes hard, and the hard road often becomes easy. The earlier you can train yourself and those you love to be masters of money, the better. Money is a powerful force. Unfortunately, people use the power of money against them. If your financial intelligence is low, money will run all over you. It will be smarter than you. If money is smarter than you will work for it all your life. Step number 9, the need for heroes. When I was a kid, I greatly admired Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Yogi Berra. They were my heroes. As a kid playing Little League, I wanted to be just like them. I treasured their baseball cards. I wanted to know everything about them. I knew the stats, the RBI, the ERAs, their batting averages, how much they got paid, and how they came up from the minors. I wanted to know everything because I wanted to be just like them. Every time, as a 9 or 10-year-old kid, when I stepped up to bat or played first base or catcher, it wasn't me. I was Yogi or Hank. It's one of the most powerful ways we learn that we often lose as adults. We lose our heroes. We lose our naivete. I have new heroes as I grow older. I have golf heroes such as Peter Jacobsen, Fred Couples, and Tiger Woods. I copy their swings and do my best to read everything I can about them. I also have heroes such as Donald Trump, Warren Buffett, Peter Lynch, George Soros, and Jim Rogers. In my older years, I know their stats, just like I knew the ERAs and RBI of my baseball heroes. I follow what Warren Buffett invests in and read anything I can about his point of view on the market. I read Peter Lynch's book to understand how he chooses stocks. And I read about Donald Trump, trying to find out how he negotiates and puts deals together. Just as I was not me when I was up to bat, when I'm in the market or I'm negotiating a deal, I am subconsciously acting with the bravado of Trump. Or when analyzing a trend, I look at it as though Peter Lynch were doing it. By having heroes, we tap into a tremendous source of raw genius. But heroes do more than simply inspire us. Heroes make things look easy. It's the making it look easy that convinces us to want to be just like them. If they can do it, so can I. Step number 10, teach and you shall receive. Both of my dads were teachers. My rich dad taught me a lesson I've carried all my life, and that was the necessity of being charitable or giving. My educated dad gave a lot by the way of time and knowledge, but almost never gave money. As I said, he usually said that he would give when he had some extra money. Of course, there was rarely any extra. My rich dad gave money as well as education. He believed firmly in tithing. If you want something, you first need to give, he would always say. When he was short of money, he simply gave money to his church or to his favorite charity. If I could leave one single idea with you, it's that idea. Whenever you feel short or in need of something, give what you want first, and it will come back in buckets.
Wow, that's quite profound. That's quite profound, you know. So whenever you are in need of something, give that out first, and that will come back to you in multiple fold. So that's quite profound.
Of
Let's
course,
listen
there
that
was
again.
rarely any extra. My rich dad gave money as well as education. He believed firmly in tithing. If you want something, you first need to give, he would always say. When he was short of money, he simply gave money to his church or to his favorite charity. If I could leave one single idea with you, it's that idea. Whenever you feel short or in need of something, give what you want first, and it
Give
will
what you
come
want
back
first.
in buckets.
Give what you want first. You wanting, but you give it first. That's okay.
That's true for money, a smile, love, friendship. I know it's often the last thing a person may want to do, but it's always worked for me.
Hmm.
I just trust that the principle of reciprocity is true.
Principle of reciprocity. That's profound. So it's not only money, anything, you know, what you want, love, respect, time. Okay, so that's the main.
And I give what I want. My rich dad would often say, poor people are more greedy than rich people. He would explain that if a person was rich, that person was providing something that other people wanted. In my life, over all these years, whenever I felt needy or short of money or short of help, I simply went out and found in my heart what I wanted and decided to give it first. And when I gave, it always came back. It reminds me of the story of the guy sitting with firewood in his arms on a cold, freezing night, and he's yelling at the pot-bellied stove, "When you give me some heat, then I'll put some wood in." And when it comes to money, love, happiness, sales, and contacts, all one needs to remember is first to give what you want, and it will come back in droves. My poor dad taught teachers, and he became a master teacher. My rich dad always taught young people his way of doing business. In retrospect, it was their generosity with what they knew that made them smarter. There are powers in this world that are much smarter than we are. You can get there on your own, but it's easier with the help of the powers that be. All you need to be is generous with what you have, and the powers will be generous with you. Take action.
All right. So we'll conclude here. I think you're pretty much done. Another 10 minutes and we will finish this book, but we'll continue that tomorrow. And have a